Try HelloFresh UK to get 60% off your first box, 25% off for 2 months, and to, of course, help support this channel. Link is down in the description. Thank you for your support. Well, it's one of my favourite weekends of the year, and this time it's got a bit more importance for me as a Luton fan because we are back for Southend United today in the FA Cup third round, and we are facing Willie Sagnol's Watford with a chance to get to the fourth round for the first time in this save. We're also doing very well in League One, despite a number of the big boys struggling, and today we're coming up against one of them as we also face Sheffield Wednesday. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 28 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today, as we mentioned, to face Watford in the FA Cup. They're in the bottom half of the Championship, with Sheffield Wednesday in the bottom half of League One. And even 2 years ago, when we were stuck in the National League, we would not have thought that this would be the case. Perhaps favourites to cause an upset, and perhaps favourites to beat Sheffield Wednesday. If you're looking forward to seeing how we get on, as the January transfer window is open, we've got our first Portuguese start courtesy of our new director of football. And please do put a thumbs up on the video. We'll find out what's been going on, what players might be forcing their way out, and fingers crossed in half an hour I'll still have a voice. So apologies if it gets a little bit shaky during this one. But let's go and have a look at what's been happening since the last episode. And we start with the transfer centre, because although you know this one's been happening for a while, we have got a new face on the bench today. As it happens, our director of football has also made a bid for a young goalkeeper who we probably won't be bringing in. But if we have a look at the transfer history, Diogo Fernandes has now joined the club, and my word, he is a bit of a gem. A young star from Benfica on loan, and good timing as well, because Danz and Presley are refusing to sign new contracts for anything less than pretty extortionate terms, and that means we might be left a little bit short. But now, I've not got that worry quite so much. So, nice to see that Portuguese influence having a little bit of an effect. But the rest of the window, I'm sure we'll get a little busier. We'll have a look at where it might change in a moment. But let's start by having a look at the schedule, because again, it's not been the cleanest of months. You were with me as we played two of the top sides and were beaten. We then played two top sides not long after and were held by both of them, and in quite frustrating circumstances in at least one as well. And although we have picked up a few wins in some of the other games, particularly the two against relegation scrappers, we've not really been able to put out a consistent team, and I think you can see that has affected our form defensively for sure. So since you were last with me, we beat relegation strugglers Doncaster at 5-2, Morehouse with an early penalty, Clark and Presley won apiece with Jade and Dan's getting a brace. Against Wigan, we were 2-0 up, but we threw it away. Alistair Smith and Jack Morehouse with a goal each. And then later in the game, we had to make changes because we'd had 2 games in 3 days at home and we just didn't have a strong enough bench. So it ended up being a 2-2 draw. At Pompey, we drew 1-1. Very different emotions in that one because Leighton Stewart came off the bench to equalise in a 92nd minute. We'd been completely outclassed in that game and didn't deserve the point. Away at Stevenage, we won by 3-1, but they're in relegation trouble as well, so no big shocks there. Baggott, Presley and Cornick with 1 apiece. And then Barnsley at home, a 4-2 victory. 2 for Jarrell Kwanzaa using his height from set pieces, and 2 for Leighton Stewart, who came in due to a Presley injury. And my word, did he do well. It's almost like he knew the Portuguese youngster was coming in, and he was going to have a fight on his hands for his place in the team. So we go into January, do you know what? In pretty decent form. It's hard to tell where we are in the league table, because if Rotherham win their game in hand, it's a bit different. Same for Birmingham above us as well. But ultimately, the thing we've done best in recent weeks is stop losing games. Because, yes, we lost those 2 in the last episode. And yes, we had that dodgy run off camera the month before. But we've still only lost 5 games, which is the least in the division. And yes, we are dropping a few points to draws. But that seems to be the difference at the minute between us and that chasing pack below. So very happy with that. We're in a pretty good position as it stands. And we're thrilled with it after 2 successive promotions. But this is going to be a test for the squad because as this window goes on, I would expect us to come under pressure for certain players. We've got Baggott, who said he's going to leave at the end of his contract, so will we get interest? Quite possibly. We've got people like Saxon Early who want to leave for football. Baba Fernandes is in that boat as well. Joe Tomlinson has ended his unhappiness, but how long that'll last, I'm not too sure. And then up front, the big decisions are Presley and, of course, Jayden Danns. Both worth big money, both out of contract in 18 months. If we get an offer of multiple millions for either of them, we have to let them go. It's a fact of life. It's where we are in a save. We just have to be realistic about it. So that's the bit I'm keeping an eye on to see whether we get any big offers. But most of the other stars in more defensive positions, as you can see, have been tied down now for 2.5 years. So definitely positives for the future. The one area I am potentially looking at assigning is right back, because Tomlinson's done okay out there. Matheson's done okay, but is declining. And Ethan Ingram has never really got going. It's the only position we've not got a good League One level player. And I feel like that's something that may cost us later in the year. Of course, when it's four at the back, the odd time we've moved Kwanzaa out. But when I'm looking at it for the run-in, when we're playing a back five away from home, we've got to have a better defender there. That is my big priority for this window. We also have to decide, can we get another target man? Do we need to bring Harry Cardwell back? Or do we just live with it as it is? We'll probably make that decision based on whether we get an offer for Presley or Danns. But at the moment, the schedule's not too bad for early January. One game a week up to the 23rd, and the two home games are against sides battling relegation. So we've probably got 3 weeks to make our decisions in the window. For now though, let's go and get through to an FA Cup game where we can go relatively strong due to 6 days off after. And of course, Watford in the same boat, they've got a week off too, and they've put some good players in their team. They've still got a few of the originals like Bachmann and Porteous, but they managed to sign Archie Gray. Ryan Gould is out on the left, Luke Thomas at left back. They've got some really good footballers in this team. I'm not quite sure how close to their first 11 it is, but it's certainly got lots of championship level players in, and I'd be a little bit surprised if we're not under some pressure in this match. So let's go and get through to the team selection. It's almost sold out again, but this is the team we've gone for. I think the only player missing is Trevor Clark, who is suspended on the left wing. It's the closest we've actually been to having everyone fit for a long time. Baggett's quite tired, he drops onto the bench, similar for Morehouse and Tomlinson. But this is the 11 we've gone for in full. You can see the weakness with Matheson at right back. He's ahead of Daniel Rose, who's in goal. We've got Parks on the left with Parker and Kwanzaa as centre half. Hilton and Ferry are the two wide men, ever dependable as they have been for the last year or so. Williams and King the midfield too. Still the position we've not nailed down our best 11. And up front is Presley and Danns. Jayden Danns a little out of form in recent weeks, but also playing with both fatigue and limited fitness. So let's see how we get on today. As Aaron Presley returns, we've got two up front. We've got Fernandez on the bench for the first time. Let's see who's going to be the hero. Through we go to the first game of the day. Anything we get out of this is a bonus. We've reached the third round. We've done really well. I mean, they've got some good players on the bench as well. Reece Healy, Nabil Bentaleb, and Calvin Ramsey as well. Wow, this is an eclectic mix of players that Willy Sagnol's put together. So let's go and prove a point. Let's show that we can do what we did last time. I get the feeling, though, we're going to have to be a bit better defensively, because that has been our Achilles heel. It is, though, one of the first times we've been able to put out, well, the whole back five I would like to. So I'm hoping that will pay dividends here. Into the first half against Watford, and fingers crossed we can do it for Luton Town and some of the former boys that have been here. Your John Stills of the world, for example. With 5 minutes in, we've got an attacking throw on the right, and Matheson is going to take it here. 3 players go short. Hilton's one. It's back to Matheson. Into Aaron Presley. Good turn. Good shot. Big deflection off Danns and over the bar. I can see why he tried to get something on it. It was going straight through to Bachmann. Let's hope he gets sent off like he did in real life at the weekend. That would help us all. A good start to the game though. We've had the best chance. We've had the only highlight. And we've looked fairly aggressive. And Matheson obviously heard me talking about replacing him. I don't really understand why he hasn't improved. He's played for a year and a half. He's had a good average rating. As Aaron Presley's shot is tipped onto the bar. Credit to Bachmann. That's a very good save. But yeah, just hasn't improved for some reason, despite having more potential in the tank. As Gray goes through to the centre forward. Well dealt with by Parker. Not the best ball for Matheson, but he can play out. And he has support down the line from Hilton. Forced backwards again. Composed in possession, but when do we give it away? Matheson charging through the team. Oh, that's unfortunate. Takes a nick off Joe Williams. Kone will get it away to Gray. This is why we wanted to replace Matheson. It almost cost us the goal. Out for a goal kick with half an hour gone. The voice ain't clinging on for much longer. We need to get the goals and get out of here. As Jaden Dans goes back to Parker. Inside to Kwanzaa, who's got time in the possession. No one really pressing up front for Watford. They've only got one up there. So we're getting free time on the ball as Williams finds Kwanzaa again. Very patient build-up by our standard. And Hilton's given it away. We fell into the trap. Williams nicks it straight back though. Good play from him. Kwanzaa into midfield, is it? No. Now it's down to King. The playmaker goes wide to Hilton. Can we finally break away? Hilton inside to Presley. Good hold-up play from the target man. Here's Williams. And now into Parker. Quick switch of play to Parks. It's good football. There's 2 or 3 in the middle. Parks delivers. Presley's up. Dan's is there as well. But he wasn't needed. Aaron Presley back to fitness. He's up at the back post. Out jumps Porteous quite comfortably. And puts it in for 1-0. Almost half an hour to the dot. And we go 1-0 up against Watford. The magic of the FA Cup is here. And we might well be on course for the 4th round. But now there's a problem. Presley has picked up a bruised ankle. I'm not going to risk it in the cup. He'll come off at half time. I don't want to lose a sub break. And a bruise shouldn't get worse. But we won't play him in the second half. As that one's gone straight through. Matheson can't get there. Is it onside? I think it is. It's literally a straight ball over the top from Daniel Backman. It beats everyone. Matheson couldn't get round, but it's Kwanzaa and Parker who are done by the bounce. And you just can't let those drop. Unfortunately, we fell asleep when it mattered most, and now we're going to have to take our big target man off. So Dan's will switch sides. We'll go for... I'm going to go Leighton Stewart for now because he's been in form. He's fought really hard to get back into first team contention. And he deserves his run out in this big game. As we reach the hour mark, there's not a lot happening here. And now it's a long throw for Watford. Don't give a penalty. Williams nicks it. We get away with one. Dan's up to Stewart. It's a terrible touch. And now it's back to Backman in goal. Does mean we can't really bring Fernandez on unless we take Stewart off as well. As Matheson heads away, Williams is beaten to it. The centre forward's causing us trouble. But Kwanzaa does really well this time. Finds Daniel Rose. Has support out wide. Goes inside to Parks. He can bring it forward. Drifts left. Has King inside of him. The playmaker looking for the ball but not getting it. Parker's the man who takes up possession. Play short to Kwanzaa. This is the most I've seen us on the ball for a long time. Watford really sitting off us as Dans chips up to Stewart. Headed away as far as Dans again. Releases Hilton. Oh, he's offside. Stewart scores, but it's not going to count. Just didn't hold his run. Maybe the cross came earlier than he thought. But we're competitive, and if we do end up in the Championship, I'd fancy us to compete with these bottom half teams. As Williams gets the ball on the right. Back to Matheson. The hour mark has been passed. We're 2/3 of the way to a replay, which none of us want. As Matheson finds Kwanzaa. It's not quite going to Goodison, is it, if we do get one? Parker back to him again. Can we find a winner? Not with a pass like that. Kwanzaa's had an absolute stinker today. Jadera gets it. It deflects in. Oh, that's unlucky. Massive, massive deflection. Came off Parker. Rose had already dived. I mean, I'd probably rather this outcome than a draw, but still, the manner of it is sickening. I'm going to take Kwanzaa off because he's had a stinker. We're going to bring Fernandez on at centre-half. Dan's is struggling as well. Do you know what? I might just do it. He's 5'11", the other lad, and at least he'll get a run out. I feel like that's better than him not coming on at all. So we're going to go Diogo Fernandez for Dan's. We're also going to bring off Sonny Hilton for Harry Cornick. And we'll bring off King, who's not been great, for Jack Morehouse. We've got most of the youngsters and most of our own players on, so we've done something right. A debutant up front, we're only 1 goal behind, and it's been competitive. I mean, overall, it's still not been a bad day. As Chidera gets away down the left-hand side. Good work from Williams, and now Matheson. Morehouse to Cornick. Switch of play to pass. Can we get out of the defensive third here? Oh, that's abysmal. Where has that come from? These sort of mistakes just haven't been happening. Then you come into the FA Cup tie, you get an underhit back pass. I can't for the life of me work out why we're playing so short in possession today. It's nothing in the instruction tactically. You can see we're not playing out of defence. We're not playing at a shorter passing directness. We've changed nothing. And we're normally the kings of going quite direct, getting it up quite quickly. But at the moment, we seem to be having a similar trouble, and it is via the fact that we're overplaying. I've no idea what's caused it, but It's been a competitive performance, and now we can get back to the focus of the league without any fixture congestion. Let's hope we get the response next week against Sheffield Wednesday as Parker's up, and that makes the scoreline look better. He was unfortunate with the one that hit him on the way in earlier on in the game, but that time did brilliantly at the other end. Good strong header. In the 4 minutes of stoppage time, we've at least got them worried. They're trying to keep possession, manage it professionally, and so far they're doing a good job of it. Sanderson into Perez. Big ball up to the striker. Well played with Kone. Wide to Barr on the right-hand side. Park's closing him down. Made the absolute howler for the winner. And wins the ball there, but not able to keep possession. Kone on the edge. Oh, good save, Rose. I'm not sure. I've just noticed Daniel Rose was blamed for the third goal. That's ridiculous. How has his rating gone down that much? He can't do anything about the deflection for the second. And the third is a short back pass. It's ridiculous. As Barr puts the corner in. Headed away by Fernandez. He'll go back out to it again. Been maybe the one disappointment this summer. Not really got much game time. And Rose makes another good save there. Not that it's reflected in his rating. Has crept up slightly in the end. Oh, they're not marking the edge of the box again. How many times? It's infuriating me. Ramsey's got the corner. They're using every last second they can here. It's into the box. Porteous tipped wide. And Sanderson penalised for handball. It's a 3-2 defeat. It's a good effort. It's a strong cup tie. But in the end, the injury cost us. We weren't at our best defensively. And that's my big worry for the rest of this month. Can we improve at the back? We're going to try and look for a right fullback over the next week, albeit Matheson did okay today. And we'll be back in a moment's time for the game next weekend against Sheffield Wednesday. A game that, if we want to get promoted, we've probably got to win. Well, as we return for our second game, it appears that sacrificing Presley against Watford has worked because he is fully fit for this one and ready to go. We've also got a few players that have ended unhappiness, and we're getting bizarre loan and transfer offers from our director of football. But the good news in this save is we can just turn them down. We have been looking at a few right backs who we've scouted, but nothing really in the pipeline yet. So with no further news on the ins, let's have a look at the outs, because there is one potential big bit of news. That involves Saxon Early, who forced his way onto the transfer list. He got sent off on the opening day, then complained 10 days later that he wasn't playing enough football. And we have now accepted an offer from Barnsley, fellow League One club, for 200 grand up front, a potential 75 grand in further add-ons, and most importantly, a sell-on clause of 30% as well. So for someone who we got for free and played half a season before getting injured, this is a really good deal for us, I think. It's a bit of a shame it didn't work out because he's a super player on paper. But we've got to accept a good deal, and this is a good way to make money. So let's get through to the Southend Sheffield Wednesday game. One postponed at the top, but for us, it's all very tight, isn't it? It can go wrong quite quickly, but I'm starting to look at it now. If we can pick up a few more wins, maybe the playoffs is a minimum. I'm looking at the team they can put out, and I'm assuming that's Joe Taylor up front, the Luton one. Yes, it is. You can see he's there permanently now, and he's doing really well. They've also got Ojo, Gordon, who's a good young player, Will Vauxhall with the long throw at the back, and they've also got Diaby, who got sent off in the reverse fixture. But for us, we're going to play 4-4-2. We're not going to deviate too much. So let's get our strongest 11 picked, and we'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, here we are then. It is a 4-4-2 as expected, and actually, I've not changed much at all. From the starting 11, I've kept it exactly the same. And on the bench, we made 1 or 2 adjustments, particularly with there only being 7. I've gambled on Fernandez above Stewart, who's got recurring injury, so we need to look after his match load. But otherwise, I'm thrilled with where we are. Jayden Danns is a bit of a problem at the minute. Not scored in his last 5, so you know what we're going to do. We're going to warn the player about his recent form. We're going to say, I've got faith in you to score, don't you worry. With the rest of that done, though, we're going to get through to the game. This is a big one at home to Sheffield Wednesday. A great side on paper, but really struggling in recent months. So let's hope we can take advantage, we can get the win, we can stay in this promotion race, because it's been a brilliant first year in League One, and it would be pretty incredible if we could keep it up. They've still got Valerian Ismail in charge despite the poor year. You look at the players dropping out and on the bench, they've got John Jules, they've got Shipley, who we tried to sign in the summer, and Morgan Rogers and Todd Kane. It's a very good side. So let's prove a point. We've got most of them inspired as we head into the first half of this big one. Can we take advantage early? I did notice that they had an extra game in midweek, a rearranged league game against Wrexham, which they drew 0-0, and we've now got a disaster. Both strikers have picked up little injuries. They're bruises, they shouldn't get worse, they should be okay. But this is my one worry for the rest of the season, and I know that Fernandes makes it a little less worrying, and we have dominated the game still, but if we get big injuries to Presley and Dans, I don't think we're able to go up. And maybe that's not a bad thing in the short term. Maybe I have to sell them while we can, but it's Sheffield Wednesday who have got the first highlight, and it is that Will Vaught's long throw. In the end, he takes it short and fools all of us. Ojo on the left, well intercepted by Parks. It's back to Gordon, no. And the shot's just over the bar. Presley is now officially struggling. And I think we're going to have to bring Fernandes on. I don't really have a target man, but Danzy's struggling too. What do we do as Williams puts it in? Do I change tactic just to cope with it? As Parks gets in on the left, it's a great effort. Dawson tips it over. Great play from the left back. It's out for a corner kick. Maybe we go 3-4-3 just to deal with it. It's Will Ferry with a corner. Outswinger to the back post. Inswinger, sorry. This one will be an outswinger because it's over to the other side. But in fact, it looks like Hilton's going to take it. There's loads of men in the middle. We're swamping the box and the edge of it. As Hilton goes up, it's a poor corner. And Dawson deals with it well. 44 on the clock. It's been a dominant display. And nothing to show for it. 0-0 at the break. It's almost like our front two aren't fit, isn't it? What are we going to do with them? Because Dan's is knackered. Presley is officially injured. I'm going to switch Dan's for now and go Fernandes. Chance to become an instant hero. And then if Dan's continues to struggle, which he is at the minute, Cornick will have to come on as the unintended target man because we cannot afford to get a long injury to these two. It's a bit of a worry that they keep getting little ones. And it's not the ideal time for it. But we can get through and get something out of this game. Even if we could nick an ugly 1-0, it would be great. Can we do it from a set piece instead? Parker's up. Doesn't win it. It's out as far as Cornick. He gets it on the left and cuts inside. Good football from him. In the end, forced inside to Parker, and wide to Parks on the left, who beats his man. Target man's behind him, which isn't ideal, but Parks gets in the box. He goes alone. Brilliant run. The shot's not great. It's over the bar. We'll think about more subs in a minute. We've got fresh legs to bring on. Can we produce something special? As Will Vaux is back with a long throw. Headed away as far as Ferry on the left-hand side. The voice is really starting to go now, so I can only apologise for how this sounds, because I can barely hear it. As Fernandes down the left, backwards to Parks, through for Ferry. He's produced moments this season. Into Fernandes. Oh, he should have scored. That could have been his big arrival. But instead, it's a wasted opportunity. We're going to make a couple of subs because both centre midfielders are struggling a bit. So we'll go straight swaps with Morehouse and Smith. And then we've also got one more. Do we go a defender? Not yet. I'm a bit worried about Clark. He said he was very happy today, and suddenly he's apprehensive and his morale has dropped to the floor. As Ferry goes short to Morehouse, clever free kick. Morehouse is in. He loves a special goal. Jack Morehouse, you beauty. What a goal. What a moment for it. The young man does not score often, but he scores big goals and he scores special goals. He's training well. He's developing well. And my word, that might be a big one. Ferry is going to come off now for Trevor Clark, who's just going to have to get on with it. Says he's really happy now. I don't understand. Anyway, we've got 5 minutes to go. It's been a dominant display. We deserve to win this game, and Fernandes does well there. Cornick switches to Hilton. They're going to be chasing the game. We've been almost the kings this season of scoring late goals. As Fernandes is up, it falls for Clark. Just over the bar. Cracking effort. It unfortunately goes over. But we deserve a win here. And in the end, we're unfortunately going to have to time waste for it because it's getting a bit more tense than it should do. We're going to go defensive duties there. Winger on support for Hilton. Smith will go as a deep lier on support as well. We're going to time waste all the time. We're going to slow the pace down. We're not going to do anything too drastic though. No change into 6 at the back or anything like that. We're just going to try and get through stoppage time, which we have. A performance of champions, a moment of champions from Morehouse as well. A really important result, a really good win. And despite having both strikers injured in the first half, we managed to find a way to get the 3 points. Really thrilled with that. Let's have a look at the schedule for when we're going to be back. See how the other results have gone. Birmingham win again, no surprise there. Rotherham drew 4-4 at home to bottom Carlisle. That's a bit weird. What did Millwall do? They lost to Barnsley. So the teams that started the day, 3rd to 5th, all lost or drew. Presley is out for 3 days. We're now 6 unbeaten in the league. We managed to extend our gap to the playoff places and we continue a good run of form. Let's hope the voice recovers before the next episode and see when we're going to be back. We have got 4 more big games this month. Cardiff is the last of them and they have now grown all the way up to 8th place. So I know it's not far away, but I might come back for that one on deadline day just because it's going to be a pretty big episode. I'd expect there to be a bit of business at the end of this window, and I'd expect a few offers to come in for our stars. So that's the one we're going to return for. Cardiff away from home and transfer deadline day straight after it. Saxon Early looks like he's going to be on the way out this time, but there might have to be 1 or 2 coming in as well. If you're looking forward to finding out who they are, and if you did enjoy this episode, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Apologies for my struggling voice again, I hope it's not been too bad. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season and see how this transfer window finishes, then subscribe and turn that notification bell on. It looks like these lads are delivering again. They're pulling out big wins and even a clean sheet this time to help us stay in that promotion race. Comment down below where we need to improve the squad. We've got to have a go for it now, surely, haven't we? It could be a historic moment for Southend United. Fingers crossed we can get over the line. Before we return with this one though, we've got a massive episode in the head coach tomorrow as we move on to pastures new. If you want to see where we went, you need to find yesterday's video up in the eye above. There's also links there to the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. And don't forget to check out HelloFresh UK in the description for 60% off your first box while supporting this channel too. Thank you very much for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you back here next time for a big game before deadline day.